And welcome everyone to Game 1 between Gazelem and NotMike here in the MSL Code B semifinals. Here we are on Agria Valley. This is not Agria Valley, neither is it Antigua Shipyard. It does have an A in it though. And this is Achelon Waste. So up here in the top left-hand corner, we have Gazelem spawning as the red Zerg, and his opponent down here is the green Protoss, is of course NotMike. Anyway, so moving on, we do have, just very typical looking things coming out. The only thing you can really tell at this point early in the game is that there's not a 9 pool. And there's probably not going to be a 10 pool. Either way, we're getting going. Very forward pylon placement from NotMike. Generally, you'd see this and say Forge First Fast Expand, which is generally considered to be a correct thing to do against Zergs as a Protoss. However, I was fooled by that once already. So at least forward building placement does show the intention to build a faster Nexus, even though it might not be exactly a Forge First Fast Expand. Looks like we're going to see a very standard game out of Gazelem. Probably do a 14 or 15 hatch. 14 hatch is very common. 15 is a little bit more economically focused, so we'll see how that works. P.S. Overlords were ugly enough, don't you guys think? What? Skins, they're crazy. We do have the gateway going down and an assimilator. So NotMike playing a very common playstyle. It's called being able to build units. It's pretty popular in Starcraft. I don't know if you guys heard about it. And since we didn't spend too much time talking about Achelon Wastes, I'd like to point out it is the same map almost as Achelon Flats that was there in Wings of Liberty. The main difference being here, this is Pride Rock from The Lion King. I don't know if everyone can see that, but that's Pride Rock. And what Pride Rock does is that when you chop it down, it falls and blocks off your base. So it even makes it easier to take that third base than Achelon Flats. Something important to know, as it's generally used as it should be. Also, compared to normal destructible rocks, which are right here, these have 2,000 hit points and 3 armor. The Rock Towers, or Pride Rock, only has 500 hit points. So you get through that much more quickly. So it's pretty easy to wall this off immediately. So anyway, we have the Cybernetics core. We should see sometime soon another gas going down, if NotMike sticks to what is standard. We also have 2 queens in production. For those of you that don't play Zerg, if you go hatch first, you build a hatch, build a pool, and then it's generally like right as soon as you have the money, you can build 2 queens. The gas geyser going down, I would say generally if you see the gas geyser start being mined after the pool's done, you know it's not for speed, it is instead for something else, like roaches, for instance. Chrono boosting the Stalker here. There goes that early expansion. Not quite as fast. You had to wait for this to build and this to build, and half of another gateway. Oop, the Stalker going to get out and is probably going to chase down this Overlord. Here comes the second gas geyser from NotMike. And Overlords take such a long time to die when you only have one thing shooting at them. However, it will get taken out before it can completely escape. They're nasty and gross. Also, a cool skin on the Zerglings. They look like little tiny dinosaurs. At one point in time, I was super into Jurassic Park, like most children that were raised in the the early 90s. And it turns out I have nieces and nephews, and they all still love dinosaurs, even though there's not any dinosaur-related movies coming out on the big screen. So apparently, little kids just love dinosaurs. Raise your hand if you ever wanted to be a paleontologist because of Jurassic Park or dinosaurs, or if you wanted to be an archaeologist because Indiana Jones is super awesome. So getting back into the game, we have speed going down for the Lings. Surprisingly not actually using that for the roaches. Usually if you want to go with speed, you'll build this before or during when the spawning pool is being built, so then you can mine gas and have 100 gas right when the pool finishes. However, that is not the case. Looking at the unit count, we see them both actually completely tied in economy. So it's going to be interesting to see where we go from here. Note that even though the economy is the same, NotMike is behind in food. This is something you see very frequently in PvZ matches. Protoss units cost so incredibly much. There we go. Twilight Council. Twilight Council, Robotics Facility, a Forge, and another gate. So NotMike is going to spend some time getting some upgrades. He's going to be a little bit turtley for probably a little bit longer, as still not enough unit-producing structures in the mix to really be a big threat, particularly with this number of lings on the field. I always go there to count and realize that I can just come look here instead. 32 lings on the field. I'm a little bit surprised that they're not being a little bit more active. Generally with fast units, you want to be as annoying with them as possible. Oh, speed just finished. Now, or not, didn't. It probably didn't just finish. I was probably inattentive, but I'd like to point out that these no longer look like dinosaurs. They instead look like they have butterfly wings or moth wings. That's kind of what I'm thinking. Looking around, we do have the Hydra Den going down. This is going to be something that will be very important, and a Dark Shrine. So Dark Shrines have become more popular in Heart of the Swarm than they were in Wings of Liberty. However, they're still not really builds, at least that I know about, that really emphasize, like at this time you need to build a Dark Shrine. They seem to be much more of a situational unit in comparison to many of the other units in the Protoss arsenal. So because of that, they generally are called the Anytime Dark Shrine. It's a little bit uncommon to see them thrown down when they're not under pressure. Usually what happens is a Protoss player is behind and has to do something to get back in the game, and then they throw down a Dark Shrine because Dark Templar are invisible Jedi. That's basically what they are. As a side note, who here has not wanted to have Star Wars and Starcraft together in one universe at times? I think that would be quite entertaining. At very least, the similar naming conventions would make it so easy to do. Oh, my mistake. We rewind 10 seconds into the past. That's fine. We do have the Infestation Pet coming down. I think I might have actually skipped farther forward. I'm not about to go back because it appears that actually nothing has happened. There are 4 Dark Templar now on the map. Where are they? Where are the Dark Templar? We have a drop. Ladies and gentlemen, we have something happening. After scouting, everything's kind of stagnated a little bit right now. And so this is going to be really exciting. The really good Overlord placement by all of the team Overlords, making sure that they do indeed see this flying glass ship and this drop. However, it doesn't appear that Gazelem actually has done anything. From Gazelem, no reaction yet, no reaction yet. This could actually do a lot of damage. Okay, there they go. The Dark Templar are doing massive amounts of damage. It looks like instead of chasing down the drones, they're actually just going to run back. There's nothing to scout here yet. There's no vision. Here comes the Overseer, but it looks like these 3 Dark Templar will be able to take this hatchery out, or this is a lair out. The Dark Templar, while being invisible Jedi, are not that great once they are visible. But the DPS is so high. This is actually going to set Gazelem really far back in this game. You would expect, because of this, that he would do some sort of a large counterattack, like this one, perhaps. He's got to stay in this game somehow. Also, good creep spread from Gazelem. At 14 minutes, it could be a little bit farther forward, especially getting more towards this other base, in preparation to take that and/or this one. However, still pretty respectable creep spread. Creep spread is actually a really good indication of how good a Zerg player is. That and larva injects. If you just watch the people and see if they can do those things, if you have those down, you're actually usually a pretty good Zerg player. We need to see a force field being thrown down here in a moment. There's 200 energy. These units are now in the base. Rebel forces are in the base. Force field trapping some of these roaches here, not able to retreat, but I don't know if at this point they'd want to retreat. However, now the zealots being able to sandwich them from both sides, and these immortals just doing massive, massive damage. Terrible, terrible damage. And it looks like Gazelem took out some pylons, but is probably not going to be able to force his way in. NotMike is able to push him back, and so it's not quite an eye for an eye. But some damage was done, and I'm really surprised that there's no additional hatchery here. Just deciding to completely abandon it. This has become the lair And why do we need it? And, oh, a whole bunch of drones not used. That is so many drones right there not doing anything. That is 15 drones just hanging out. That could really help the economy out of Gazelem, although at this point he does have a bit of a bank, so perhaps it's not quite as important. Looks like he is going to take that expansion. I call this an expansion because it's actually his main base. Spreading the creep back to where his hatchery was. We have some missed rally points, some things like that. I'd like to point out both players are starting to accumulate a decent-sized bank. NotMike, even though after crushing that army, still not feeling safe to go out. It feels like NotMike is being very reluctant to move out on the map. So, a little bit surprised by that, actually. He's got quite a bit of money. He's really broke on gas at this point in time because he is producing a Colossi and going for extended thermal lance. And for those that don't know, those things together take quite a bit of gas. Believe it or not, back in the day, at the very beginning of Wings of Liberty, it was really popular to do one-base Colossus attacks. And then it became apparent that if you tried to do that, you simply couldn't build things in other than those two units, or that unit and that upgrade, for a really long time. It's something like 3 minutes. You could build other things. It's just the gas required to constantly produce Colossi is quite substantial. So usually you don't see them unless you're up on 3 base like this. Even then, yeah, now getting those additional gas geysers, noticing how incredibly gas-starved he was. I'm going ahead and taking those gases. The creep spread has moved a little bit farther forward. I'd like to see that to be a little bit more active, but remember, this is the MSL Code B bracket. And for those of you that don't know, the MSL is patterned after the GSL. It's the Mormon Star League and the Global Starcraft League, respectively. A whole bunch more units being rallied together. Anyway, the GSL is the premier Starcraft League in the world, hence global. Anyway, the top players in the GSL, the top league, is called Code S. So it's because they're really sweet players. I'm not actually sure what the S is from, but Code S is the tip-top, super awesome players. Then you have Code A, slightly below that. That would be similar to the minor leagues in baseball, where it's the players that are attempting to break their way into Code S. And then here we have that naming convention carried down, and this is the Code B tournament, which is primarily bronze and silver leaguers, although there are 1 or 2 gold players sneaking in. So, be interested to watch and to cast some of these other games, particularly as we get higher up in the skill levels. As myself, I've not casted any games above that of Silver League, so not near as much going on in terms of, if you look at this, the units are just standing here, and these units are just standing here. Although they are both continuing to do things. Check that out. Average APM, somewhere between 50 and 60. Can I pause a second? Yes, luckily, as observers, we don't have to worry about that. Also, NotMike not using this Warp Prism. I'd love to see some more Warp Prism harass. There's no vision right here. You could go this entire area. Warp Prisms have the ability to be ridiculously annoying. Enduring Locusts and a whole bunch of Swarm Hosts. Love to see that upgrade going down. That means that you can use those Swarm Hosts from farther away. But it looks like Gazelem might not have a chance to do that. We have NotMike moving out onto the map. He has quite a bit of a force here. Just a smattering of Dark Templar. I believe that is 2 of them. I thought I saw 2 in there. So 2 Dark Templar, not too much. It's just enough to be really annoying, is really what it is. Proxy Pylon going down. It looks like we could have a gigantic engagement. Everyone loves gigantic engagements. These Swarm Hosts needs to get burrowed immediately if they're going to be able to help out. It looks like they're not. Gazelem might not actually know about this. He does know about it now. It is being revealed as the attack on the rocks. It looks like he's trying to set up a flank. No, it's actually NotMike's going to take the natural position. He's going to have the defender's advantage in his opponent's natural base. Here the Roach is not able to get close enough. However, the Colossi are left kind of to themselves and will fall because there's not enough support right there. There goes one Colossi. This one's going to be focused down as well. So getting himself a little bit surrounded NotMike is taking quite a bit of a hit here in the economy. It's because all the zealots are back here taking out all of those workers, and that was a hive, I believe. So a lot of damage being done there. Prioritizing taking out the opponent's infrastructure instead of army. And here's those 2 Dark Templar. They're so annoying. You don't notice them in a big fight with such small numbers, but they continue to do damage and are super annoying and take a little bit longer to clear up. I'd actually like to see them moving around. We do have here those locusts. Those locusts. These are swarm hosts. These are locusts. They have been put to use. They're going to put some pressure on NotMike back here. And the food count is actually much higher for Gazelem. Looking at it, if I had to hazard a guess, I'd say it's because NotMike has a bank and no way to spend it. 37 workers, quite a few. Free units trading against not free units mean that the even if they fail, they actually just broke even. So anything that they can do is a whole bunch. Notice that Mothership Cores actually just kind of throw salami at people. Ooh, Time Warp. A good Time Warp is actually going to slow down those locusts even more and should allow these stalkers to do a little bit better. He's not kiting, he's not establishing a wall. I'd like to see some cannons, something like that. Instead, it looks like he's just going to continue trading here, and this is going to actually go poorly for NotMike. All of those non-free units attacking those free units. And yeah, there goes the cannons. And keep in mind, this is only seven swarm hosts. That's really not many. And now as NotMike is starting to throw down 3 more gates, he is noticing the lack of ability to produce units. Looking at the upgrades, NotMike does have +3 attack. Ooh, this could be really scary. We do have the roaches out here. I think if the roaches attacked at this main base, this would be game over. But instead, they're going for the pylons. Those are good. Luckily, there wasn't just one. Otherwise, oh, he might lose a Colossus to... Okay, he's going to pull that back. Not going to lose the Colossi. Looks like this base is going to go down, but keep in mind it was not mining, and both of these players have big banks. So, going to be interesting to see how this one comes out. I feel like if those roaches join this main attack, when these locusts are here, I feel like they'd have a really good chance of doing a ton of terrible damage. The army size is much larger from Gazelem. These units here are battered. This warp gate has 10 shield points and 28 hit points. It is going to go down immediately if anything ever decides to shoot at. Where are the... Oh no! These units... I understand what he's doing. He feels like he's got to contain out, but now, remember, NotMike is continuing to produce behind this, and eventually, these locusts are not going to be able... These swarm hosts are not going to be able to put out enough locusts quickly enough to be able to really contain this army, because now the locusts are not able to do much of anything. There's enough firepower here, and now here's what's happening. He's going to be able to move out. He does see those swarm hosts. He's going to move back out. I really feel like the time to attack is now. Gazelem, you can hear me. Go and attack. You're going to lose these, like right now. Exactly like right now. He does see it. He's going to run away. It looks like he's going to get away with 3 of them. I feel like that was kind of an opportunity missed. So a little bit of a lucky break there for NotMike. With a pretty good defense, now with all these cannons here, he does have a pretty good chance of surviving any frontal attack. And we're going to see what goes on. We do have some more Dark Templars. 6 Dark Templar. I have a small screen. Oh man, look at all those Dark Templar. Units 13 in Dark Templar. That's going to cause some major pain. This army just sitting here doing nothing kind of hurts me. Looks like this could be the target. What do we have? Where are they going? He's guiding them. You can see this here. He does see the drone transfer. Does not decide to go there and is instead going to check this base, which is actually where a hive is. Taking out another hive in the same game will set Gazelem back quite a bit. It's going to take out the Nidoswarm. Apparently he hates Nidoswarms. Look at the DPS. I think that's only 4 Dark Templar as well. Going to take out Detection. However, there is an Overseer morphing right above there, so these will be revealed here shortly. The army is coming, but with this number of DTs, now that they're being able to be attacked, they still are just taking things out so quickly. They will fall very quickly. It looks like they're just barely straying into range. Yeah, there they go. A few more Dark Templar. going to be taken out, not before getting a few more attacks in, now able to fully clean those up. And it looks like NotMike is going to attempt to expand again. So that was a lot of money to take out a hive. I understand the reasoning behind it. I'm not sure if I completely agree on it, though, to be completely honest. Just because that number of Dark Templar, that's a lot of money invested. Although you do have a bank, so I'm not going to fault you for that. I am not the one playing the game. I am merely watching and commentating to whoever will listen. I like that there's lots of expansions by Gazelem, even though not all the minerals are gone. There's still a couple hundred here. We do have some mutas on the way, because remember the spire was completed earlier while that hive was going down. So now there will be mutas in the map, on the map, over the map. Either way, we're going to start seeing a murder of mutas. Or maybe we can only call it a flock of mutas until it gets to be a critical mass, and then we can call it a murder. Because I feel like they're kind of like ravens. Mostly the fact that they fly and that they've been perceived as scary. Another big attack, this is very similar unit composition to what we saw before. However, now the creep spread is better, and the army sizes are actually much more equal this time. So let's see what's going on here. Okay, so continue to protect this base. Look at this, more pylons. Good idea. This is explicitly a not Artosis pylon. For those that don't know, an Artosis pylon, let's see if we can find one, is a single pylon that powers every single important thing in the base. There's not really any of those. This one powers quite a bit. But if this whole thing this could all be powered by, I think, one pylon if it was like right here, all the same number of cannons. However, then it's really easy to walk up and snipe just the pylon, and then all your cannons die, and you become very, very sad that your buildings that you hired to shoot are not able to shoot. Another hatchery going up. Got to keep spreading that creep, keep connecting these bases, but he is doing pretty well. There's a little bit of a standoff here. 12 more mutas in production. I think now at that point we might be able to call them a murder. However, it looks like NotMike is now maxed out. Generally, when you see a big engagement that's even for Protoss versus Zerg, you see the foods like this but swapped. So here we go, a big attack coming in from NotMike. The Colossi doing lots of damage from the back. The Time Warp going down. The Zealots taking the front line and able to get a great surround. No one really had a superior concave. It was just the +3 upgrades. Oh, it's 3-3 versus just 3-1. So even without that, the Time Warp and the Colossi able to do huge amounts of damage. He is backing up a little bit right now. It's trying to save these Colossi. It looks like this Colossus will go down. These Stalkers should be hired to continue to shoot things, although it does not seem to matter. These two Colossi are going to get surrounded. See, they are going down. Big battle going on. The reinforcements from Zerg coming in, however, at the same time reinforcements from NotMike, and it looks like with the Colossi down, it's not going to matter, and Gazelem's just not going to have enough to push this army back. It's very tempting to take all your reinforcements all at the same time and go, although if you have large numbers of them, you might want to wait a little bit longer and simply get a much larger group of them. I think that could have 15 additional roaches right then in the next engagement would have made a huge difference. So it looks like this... Oh no. Sweet. Check it out. So close to the end. Spoiler alert, I'm terrible. We get to see the main battle again. Me and my fat fingers, I'm casting in the dark, so quite literally could not see the keyboard and my fingers got off. Get to replay this part is not so exciting, but keep in mind, like I was saying, that production right there. If those roaches were there in that next thing, instead of all the reinforcements streaming in kind of one at a time and the units getting attacked little by little, if instead they had a large clump and they retreated here and you sacrificed this base and then just came back, I think Gazelem would have had a much better chance, although at this point it feels like this is not going to be able to do very much. Where are those roaches? They're going to just run right in all kind of at the same time. They need to all fight in a large group. Starcraft units do much better together instead of separated. Going to get a good surround, but not going to be able to do enough because there's simply not enough units to take out his opponent. So it looks like at this point, these locusts right here coming from here, kind of surprised that these rocks were not taken out and a bigger attack mounted here by these locusts earlier in the game. However, oh, now they're going to be. Good idea. Less cannons on the side. A big counterattack. If those 15 roaches had come back here, this could have been a big problem for NotMike as well. However, now it looks like the game is pretty much in the bag for NotMike. The GG being thrown down. Look at how manner everyone is. This is wonderful. So congratulations, NotMike, and we'll see how everything goes in the second game. So we'll see you there in a moment.